This episode of Speakers of Finaland is made possible by our generous patrons, like Chris, Dalamud Papoto, Smooth Sailing, Scry de la Rosa, Ryan at Shikara, Lillian Tenebrae, Kylin, Ignal the Dragon, Jamie Assur, Elim, Lily Black, Chesha Saltiri, Meili Algren, Serafu Lilirafu, Ariel, Courtney, Dimos, Casey Schaefer, and Omega Cat Comet. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/SpeakersXIV.
This is Speakers of Finaland.
Good evening, Aorcians. Welcome to Speakers of Finaland, episode 114. I'm Lakeel Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Yaspot, Rollo Des, and Mala Vanadar. Welcome to...
Big week this week.
Big week. At least, I mean, something happened, although we are entering that terrifying lull. But...
No, yeah, Pego's coming out, like, isn't it? 2 weeks from now or something?
2 weeks, yeah, maybe? I mean...
How many weeks has it been since 4.4? This is the third week, right?
Yeah.
So we're almost at week 4. It should be coming out in a week and a half then.
Yeah.
From what they said.
Weird that we haven't heard anything, though.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if that might not actually be when it's coming out.
That'd be fine with me.
Well, we'll know soon. It'll be in, if not in a week and a half, at least in 2.5 weeks.
So it's got to be soon.
Yeah.
I still need to do it, but
I finished it. I'm done. I'm never going back in. Never going back into Pegos.
What about the other 14?
No, I am never doing that again. Ever. Well, they have to like nerf the flying fuck out of Pegos before I go in there. I will never step foot in there again, unless they nerf it, which they will.
Please
at some
nerf
point.
it. I want to do it.
Yeah.
Just don't make me do it. Just give me the item. I don't want to do it at all.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Yeah. Let me buy it. Let me buy it on the monster.
Yeah.
Pegos was the whole experience was agony, obviously, but I think the most entertaining part of Pegos is shout chat, and I think that sort of helps because it is the meme factory, and there's a lot of salt, incredible anger. Like there's so much anger in that chat.
Just at
like, and
Pegos,
some of it is
in general?
some of it is so real, yes. And you can feel that they're like fucking like
you can,
screaming,
feel the trembling on their hands.
Yeah. As they're trying to type their typos, and like the caps is like all over the place.
Is it at other people?
Yes,
or is because what is it? What are they angry about?
People pull early. It's similar to what happened with Hunt, but it's like,
I was gonna say it's Hunt fate.
It's more like primal, like this time, because they're all working for this fucking relic, and some are trying to level, and they're called the Walkers, and they if a fate pops on the other side of where another fate was, let's say they're doing a holy cow, which is like the north east of the map, like on the highest aetheryte. And the fate that pops down by, let's say that a fate pops on the other side, to the west, northwest. People that have teleports will teleport there. No problem.
Right.
They'll be there instantly, and they will pull immediately. Some people will.
Of course.
And those people that are walking throughout the instance, they will just spiral into like the purest aggression, and sometimes that is entertaining.
See, I want to go in, but that's gonna be me. I'm gonna be the walker.
Yes.
Really pissed off.
You need to get someone who has a mount to carry you around.
Oh yeah.
That's the trick. Otherwise,
This system fucking sucks. Why would anyone want to deal with it? It's awful.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
here's why put yourself through this.
Roll. Here's why I want to do it, because I did all the relics and animals, and I'm like looking at them all. Well, that's a good start. That's a great start.
Animals is like compared to Pegos.
It's great. I love Animos. It's my favorite content in the game now that it's I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, animals you can just like. I mean, you're right. You can just exchange crystals for feathers now. You don't even have to kill Pazuzu. So
that too. Yeah.
There's no work put into
It's
that
just
now.
like
it's still too much work. It's
No,
still not worth
well,
it.
for animals, it's pretty easy. Like you get
Animals
all the
is-
crystals you need by just leveling up in
animals
animals
isn't even
now.
worth it.
Animals is worth it. If you want to at least get one part of the relic done, animals is pretty okay now, and it's still very much alive. I have the relic, and it looks ugly. Okay.
Are you happy? You feel
No.
satisfied?
No. Well, I'm satisfied that I don't have to go back in. That feels good.
You did do it, which is more than a lot of people can say.
That's,
so.
I guess.
You get satisfaction from not having to do it. Not even getting the item, not even accomplishing it, just from not having to go back in.
Yeah, because when Pyros comes out, I can just go in there and experience the fucking awful shit that it's probably going to be, and I can be like, "Oh, this is shit," but I'm going to do it anyways.
Yeah, aren't you excited for that episode when none of us can talk about it because none of us can go in, and you're going to be the only one that's done Pyros?
Yeah.
Isn't that going to be a great episode? Hey, Square Enix, doesn't that make a lot of sense from a gaming perspective? Does that make a lot of sense? I think.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the drop-off rate. People.
Oh, it's gotta
going
be
into-
huge.
Well, I have to say,
Whereas-
Pegasus was always really active, but it is only a 144-man instance.
Yeah.
But,
I don't think that
usually
there was
always
too
full.
much drop off between the people who finished Animos and then the people who went into Pegos. I think that's a really high rate.
Yeah.
The amount of those people that finished Pegos, though, I bet is probably a huge drop off. And I think you're right, Roll. It's probably only going to get worse each time.
Depends on what they do with Pyros, but they have to. The problem is that they have to fix Pegos, because Pyros can be as good as whatever, but it won't help because they still have to do Pegos. So
Pyros is going to have this cool logo system, and it might actually be good. But I'm not going to do it because then I have to finish Animos, I have to finish Pegos, and I love myself a little bit too much. I put myself in that torture.
Okay.
So,
have you even stepped in there, Mela? How much have you done?
Of what?
You
Pegos?
stepped in there with me, right? We were disappointed
We
together.
did it on patch day.
Yeah.
And is that all you've done?
What did you start at? Level 20?
20.
Yeah.
So I'm level 21.
Same here.
Were you 21? I think you're higher, right? Because we did another
Or maybe
farming
22?
day. Yeah, 22 or 23.
I mean, I don't hate it because it's become more and more like Animus, but I'm just done with the people in there. Like what Lucia says about why would you pull instant? It's just
that's a bit of,
if you've got the Aetherites, you're already like max level anyway. So why would you pull?
Right.
Yeah, and especially if you're high level, you don't even really have to do the fates. You can just farm the dragons or the wolves or whatever. There's lots of mobs you can farm. But yeah, whatever. There was I'm not going to bring that person up, but there's a dude, and he's infamous on Chaos. You know who you are. You know who you are.
Stop doing it.
No. Okay. Anyways, we were not supposed to talk about Eureka today. Today, we're going to talk about our main story, which is an interview done by Finaland, which is a French gaming news outlet. It's an interview with Yoshi-P, Koji, Fox, and Soken. That's
Can
our
we just
main
call
story.
it Finland the whole time?
Yeah, I want to call it Finland.
Everyone reads it as Finland.
Yeah, even though it doesn't exist.
Right.
So
then does that mean this website doesn't exist?
Oh, no.
I've not been on it.
Well, that's a rabbit hole I don't want to jump down. In the post-show, there's nothing really planned. I guess we'll figure that out before the post-show begins. Cool. Channel updates sort of will be out then this week. Everything's sort of been pushed a little bit back because of Fallen Rise. I keep forgetting how much work it is. Roar will be out the following week, and then Core, of course, Chronicles will be pushed back again. But hopefully just by a week this time, because it's on the table, so it's happening.
Wakil's the new Star Citizen.
Yeah. Half-Life 3.
He's like, I'll give you a nodule. Just give you a little. It's like, I'll give you that.
Right. So in quick news, I guess we've never mentioned this before, but LBR is practically ending soon. Aniero, Kallo, and Eskalia is leaving the show to pursue Checkpoint Radio, which has become immensely popular. It is a syndicated, it's a syndicated show, like a nationally syndicated show. You can hear it in over 60 cities in the United States and Canada.
I heard a lot of people going, "Oh yeah, LBR just died." It's like they failed. It's like, you may have had bad opinions about LBR.
Yeah.
They are super successful and have been super successful for like 15 years, like since 11.
I mean,
now they're moving on to better places. So
you can say what you want about LBR, but that they have been working so hard on LBR, and this is I'm very happy that this has happened for them. I mean, this is big. Like, this is what every podcaster really wants, because they've been acquired by a big company. Like, they're like real now. They're legit, and we should be.
And it branched out into something more universal means that it just means they can keep going for longer.
Yeah.
14 is finite.
It's probably a lot more stable as well.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. What? I've never listened to an episode of LBR.
No, I've never listened.
Oh, really?
It really isn't for everyone.
No.
And I think this is double good for them, because they clearly didn't like the game very much anymore and didn't want to be playing it. So now they don't have to.
I mean, LBR was, sure. The last year and a couple of years, it really, I mean, their interest had waned with Stormblood. I think everyone can agree on that. But I mean, I think that's what happens. Like, they've been doing this since, I mean, they started in 2006 with 11. Yeah. They've been here, like, they're the granddaddy of all, like, I'd almost say 11 and 14 podcasts. Like, they were there from the start. Like, hell, this show was highly inspired by Limit Break Radio. Look at our logo. Look at the shape of that logo. Do you wonder why?
Is it actually?
Is it maybe because we thought LBR's logo was very, very cool? I mean, this isn't what it looked like when we started. So it was pretty bad.
Brilliant back then.
Huh? What?
It was a really good logo back at the beginning. So good.
Our logo?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh God, help us!
It was great.
All.
It's great.
So yeah, that's a big chapter in 14 content creators history that's coming to a close. However, that doesn't mean that LBR will end, because it'll be handed over to Nika and Jaxta, so they will decide what happens next. So maybe a new chapter in LBR history.
Maybe.
Yeah, their last episode will be on the FanFest after party. That is their last.
That's weird
episode. Yeah.
That's so strange though, because what if it's like the best shit ever, and they're like, "Oh, now we want to do the podcast again."
What a weird time.
This is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes from there. But good luck to the crew.
If you're at FanFest, go to their after party.
Oh yeah,
really
for sure.
They throw a hell of an after party. So
yeah. Also, I mean, it's very a big deal in the 14 community, because LBR has been there forever.
I would say it's a big deal in the Final Fantasy community in general, because again, it's a huge deal for people in 11 too. Or like, oh yeah, these people were making podcasts. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw this Reddit thread, and I knew instantly that I don't want to click this, because I know what the comments are going to be. I mean, I think it hovered at like 0 votes throughout the whole, like, as long as it was up. There was like a battle between the votes, up votes and down votes. But yeah,
I would just download it. That doesn't make any sense. That's not how Reddit's supposed to work.
No, that's not. But in 14 subreddit, that's just how they work. That's
Roll. You're telling people not to be like primal with their opinions. Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. Good luck, guys. Right.
Good luck.
Let's go over to the All Saints Wake 2018 event, which is now coming up on October 18th.
Next Thursday.
Yes. Their tagline is "Come one, come all to the marvelous masquerade." Come one, come all. That's the gold saucer.
That's true.
Yeah, that's the slogan
Everyone
for the gold
leads
saucer.
the winner.
Yeah.
You gotta say the key art is a 100% Hawk Manor, so we're going back to Hawk Manor.
Is that what that picture is?
That is what it looks like.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, you can see the glass painting or the glass window
on both
yeah.
sides.
Yeah. But
you're doing that again?
No, what I think is happening,
I don't really
because no, listen, there's a big detail in the picture you're not paying attention to. They're on the second floor, which was locked in the original one that we did. You never got to the second floor.
You did?
Yeah, you did.
Because you went down the corridor to where fireplace is.
Yeah, 100%.
Wasn't it blocked off?
The whole dungeon was unlocked.
The door was blocked off to where the last boss is.
Oh.
Yeah. You could totally go upstairs.
Could still go, because there was a hole in the floor that you could drop down.
Remember when you did it, people would split. One person would go upstairs, one person would go downstairs, one person would be the main, and then the fourth person would float.
Oh, I thought you only went to the basement.
No, although the basement was quite...
Oh, you're right. I can't remember. It's been so long. Okay, whatever. The quest is called the story is called The Sinister Soiree. The Continental Circus has returned to Gridania. The impresario inviting citizens and adventurers alike to don their guises for the frightfully delightful masquerade at the troops' mansion. Yet the Adventurers Guild's investigator suspects that a deeper deception lies beneath.
I understand that they don't want to throw this away, because I think they made it and it's limited, so I get why I think they should bring it back every year.
Yeah.
You might have to add something else for the people who've done it 2 times already.
Yeah.
You know?
Can we not wrap up the story of like the imp that's controlling the whole thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's fair.
It's a seasonal event. They can't really have a conclusion to it. So it's going to return every year.
Right.
They've sort of concluded events before, like the Songbird stuff. Like that's over now.
Well,
that's a very good point.
That's true.
Songbirds did wrap up completely.
I think that's like the first seasonal quest that actually wrapped up, though. The other ones have just been going on and on forever, or they have had like such a vague storylines that there's nothing to conclude. Yeah, we don't know what's happening in the mansion, though. It could be like, so far all the seasonal events this year, except for the New Year's one, has been refreshing.
Yeah.
So it is possible this one's going to be good as well. I mean, the rewards are pretty good. They look good. There were 2 minions.
Do you guys think if they do make a new thing that they should also have the old one available as well?
For sure.
You think so?
Like the old house?
Yeah, but, like, I'm just wondering if you think that these things are better being left as like time limited stuff. It's like you missed the event, you're done now, or if you think they should include the old stuff and then also the new stuff.
The old stuff should always just be there for.
You think it should just always be there? I kind of agree. It's
like why waste it?
I'd feel sad if I couldn't go back into the Sanctum of the 12 again. That was a cool little event.
Yeah.
And the map was really nicely done.
Valentine's
Valentine's, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's a seasonal event. It's supposed to be like tradition, so we shouldn't really be complaining that we're getting some of the old stuff back. But freshening it up every time would be good. They didn't do that for the past few Halloweens.
Last Halloween was
almost a
2 years ago was when they did this.
Yeah,
and that's when everybody was like, "Oh, because that was like the first." I think that was the first cool event we'd ever gotten. Like one that was super
the most
like that.
Amazing so far. Yeah.
Well, I think we got the. Was that when we got the deep dungeon rising thing minigame?
No, that would have been the year of the word search thing. The maze with the puzzle, the words, and
that was like
fantasy.
Oh, wasn't that the deep dungeon though? It was called Deep Dungeon Bugs or whatever, something to do with bugs. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I can't remember. Yeah, whatever.
But yeah, either way, I think that was one of the first ones where we're like, oh man, they're actually like redoing a dungeon and doing all this interesting stuff. So then they copied it almost exactly the same as like last year's was the exact same as the year before. There might have been new items, but that's it. There wasn't
Vampire Fest for the first one, Werewolf Gift for the second. You went,
ooh. Oh, God, don't know woo on this podcast.
No, don't. $30 fine.
It's kind of lame though, because like the rewards are pretty lame this year. Honestly, I mean, I like the
ones are cool.
I love this.
They're cool, but compared to last year, where you get the cool costume, and the year before that, you got the
cool costume.
Vampire.
You got a cool costume.
Yeah, and the year before that, you got the witch costume and the witch's broom mount. And it's like now we're just, and we also got like furnishing too.
Yeah.
Last time, or last.
But they are cute ghosts.
I do like the minions though. It's the
I
minions
like
that
the paw
they usually
prints.
place like around the city states that you can find.
Yeah, the
So-
floating balloon ones.
Yeah.
I do agree, Roll. It does seem weird that it's a Halloween event with no Halloween costume.
I was actually complaining that we haven't had enough Halloween furniture because I was trying to dress up the house for Halloween and I was like, there's hardly any furniture that we've got. There's like a pumpkin chair and a terrible, ugly pumpkin chair, but there's nothing like to put up on the walls. And now we're getting that, which looks good.
We are getting a lot of decorations. That is true. What's with the paws, though?
I don't like the paws.
I don't. That's not spooky to me. That seems like cute. It seems like something you'd be in a little girl's princess room,
But
doesn't
it's
it?
rainbow colored, yes.
Right. It seems like you go behind like my 12-year-old sister's princess bed.
Yeah. They also mention that there is that old event items are returning, and I'm assuming that's just the pumpkin heads that they usually sell.
You don't think that means Return of the Werewolf and other stuff?
One can dream.
Man, that would be the best thing they could do.
Well, don't they usually put on the last year's items around this time? So won't they be selling the werewolf stuff on the Mog Station coming up soon?
Yeah.
They're not gonna give it away for free then. Hell no.
There was there's like a chandelier, but candelabra. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
That we got last year. I'm hopeful that that's not going to go up on the cash shop, but then I went into the Mog Station. I'm like, every single furnishing from the previous event is there. So
don't expect otherwise at this point.
Yeah, sadly true.
Also, was there no? I might have discarded the poster for All Saints Wake. Was there a poster?
There was a poster. Yeah, I think that was either last year or the year before.
Maybe it must be
at least one poster. Yeah,
must be somewhere. Then I just can't remember where I put it. So yeah,
there's not one this year. It's nice enough artwork.
Don't they do that with every not All Saints, but Starlight? They have several posters.
Oh, the Starlight ones.
They also always do it for the summer one.
Yeah, Moonfire Fair, yeah.
Yeah, Moonfire always has a poster as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay, well.
They like to shake things up.
Okay, let's move on. There was a final update by Yoshi-P posted on the Lodestone about these goddamn DDoS attacks. Which over the past few days have not been as bad as they were, so it seems like whatever they're doing is working. But I'll just read his full statement so there will be no confusion, because there's been a lot of I wouldn't call it rumors, but speculation about what's happened. But this is the word from the man himself. I love how he always starts like, this is producer and director Naoki Yoshida, like he's on like a walkie-talkie, like talking to people, like this is producer and director. come in, this is producer and director Naoki Yoshida. I would like to explain the current situation as the intermittent DDoS attacks what? Hold on. See, okay, I need to explain to my...
now.
Need to explain. My printer started printing on both sides, and the ink is like going through the paper, so it's like blending the letters. So it's pretty good. I would like to explain the current situation, as the intermittent DDoS attacks over the past few days have been a cause of concern for our players. Target of the attacks. He even got headlines, so this is good shit. The DDoS attacks are currently targeting the game servers and network environment of all JP, NA, and EU data centers. Regarding defensive measures. No, Siri, I'm not talking to you. The DDoS attacks are being carried out in varying patterns in each region, and we are constantly adapting our methods in order to effectively defend against the attacks. Depending on the pattern of the attacks, we may require maintenance when switching to a different defensive method, in which case we will make an announcement in a separate notice. We are continuing to communicate and strategize with upstream ISPs as we address the situation. Effects on gameplay. As the pattern of the attacks received a defensive As the pattern of the attacks received and defensive measures used vary between each region, their effects on gameplay will also vary between each region. Our main priority is to prevent worlds from going down and services from being suspended, and so we're doing our best to provide optimal defenses in order to minimize effects in each region. The EU data center, which has been the most frequently targeted, had some cases where several hundred to several thousands of disconnections occurred during an attack. The NA data centers have also been affected similarly, albeit on a smaller scale. On the JP data center, we observed users of certain ISPs and network routes experiencing several milliseconds of network delay, lag, due to the effects of defensive measures in place. We are doing our best to provide optimal countermeasures across all data centers to prevent major issues, such as worlds becoming unavailable. However, some defensive measures have had side effects, and we sincerely apologize for the inconvenience they're causing our players.
I just want to say, he says several milliseconds. That should be fine, Yoshi-P. You always tell us this game's playable on 200 ms ping. So several should be fine.
Yeah. He's also explaining what a DDoS attack is. I'll just say it, because I'm sure some watching or listening don't really understand it. A DDoS, distributed denial of service attack, overwhelms the target with an irregular amount of data, which causes servers and networks to become overloaded and cease to function properly. Because the irregular amounts of data are being sent from various sources all over the world, it is extremely difficult to trace or defend against an attacker. For instance, imagine if an enormous number of people with fake tickets lined up for a concert. This would disrupt the workflow of the concert staff and prevent them from doing their actual tasks. Because a large number of people are coming from various locations at the same time, it would prove difficult to locate the person distributing the fake tickets or to prevent people with fake tickets from lining up beforehand. That's a good comparison.
That's quite a good analogy, actually.
Yeah, pretty well.
Yeah. We would like to ask for your patience and understanding as we continue to do our best to address ongoing issues. So, I mean, I think it's working, because I haven't had any disconnects in the past few days, so that's how I'm...
pretty stable for me.
Yeah.
I'm so curious why it's targeting the EU, though. Like that confuses me. I wonder if it means it's like if it's a European
group,
right? Because it doesn't. It's so weird to me.
Yeah, I guess it is a European group. I mean,
it's like they clearly aren't targeting everyone in the whole game, because like JP's not getting targeted and all that, you know. So it's like it's really strange. It seems like they're targeting people who play on Chaos.
But it's not a good time to do it because there's no races on or anything.
Right.
So you can't think there's any motive behind it.
Well, it did start happening after the first week of the new patch. People did.
Yeah, but it would even.
Yeah,
it did disrupt people's progs. I mean, if that's anything to.
Well, not world prog.
No, obviously not world progs, but just progs. Like it was brand new, and if I was raiding during that time, I'd be very nervous because, I think 3 days out of the 7-day week were completely unplayable.
Imagine being at 1% on Omega and just being like,
yeah, dude, I saw fucking horrendous stories about people who very clearly killed the boss, but the data center went down, so they didn't get the kill.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it most definitely did that, because it's that's
a nightmare scenario, dude.
It is.
Just hearing about that, my heart just died.
That'll be your first kill of
that's when they finally switched to the NA data centers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably Mela.
Let's move on. There was an interview with French gaming magazine Finaland. Finaland? I don't know how to pronounce it, but whatever.
I assume it's Finland.
Yeah, it's just Finland. Thank you, fellow Finns.
Yeah, thank you, Finland, for your hard work.
Thank you, Eastern Swedens, or whatever they actually are.
Wow, so many Finns are going to get triggered now.
Right.
I love you, Finns. I'm kidding.
Imagine the government of the country is interviewing Yoshi-P. Finland versus Yoshi-P.
Yeah.
Court case of the
court case.
This was an interview conducted during Gamescom.
When was that? That was ages ago, wasn't it?
3 weeks ago?
Really?
4 weeks ago? 2
that was
months
August 21st.
Dang.
That's a long time ago.
That's
A while
like
to
and this interview didn't surface until now. So I guess it's because they've been translating it from French. So
Google Translate, man.
well, at least this is a real translation.
It's
so
true. But like, do you think that these guys are like, hey, this isn't gonna come out for like 2 months? Give me all the deets.
Which is, I mean, you wouldn't know that it was 2 months old because they're not asking about like patch stuff.
They kind of have to, right?
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah. So this was during the celebration of the 5-year anniversary. So they do the usual, oh, thank you. So what they said. So Finland asked, resources allocated for development have changed. They go straight on. Like some of the questions in this interview are like, they're going for the attack on some of these questions. I just want to point that out. Resources allocated for development have changed. We know that some of the resources that were dedicated to content are now dedicated to the creation of new content, such as Aquapolis, Palace of the Dead, Ultimate Fights, and Eureka. Will it be possible to have content without sacrificing resources? And Yoshi-P's like, are you worried that because we're moved people off, maybe there will be less of this, etc.? They say, yes. Shida answers, by moving some of our dedicated team members that would make the dungeons and are now making new contents, the instance dungeons have gone from 2 every patch to now some patches to only be 1. What did I just read? Did I just read a real...
You said it was a real translation, Makio.
Is that what you want to mean?
Is that what you want to mean? That is what I want to mean.
I swear.
You can do it. You can do it, Finland.
It's funny because it sounds like you're stroking out, but you're actually not. Like, that is a word for word what this says.
The dungeons have gone from 2 every patch to now some patches only having 1. Is that what you mean? Is what Yoshida then asks. Finland says yes, that's what we mean. I need to translate on top of this translation. This is incredible. Yoshida asks, do you really need more instanced dungeons?
Wow, what a rebuttal.
Finaland,
Yes.
Fat Chocobo. This is from Fat
Wait,
Chocobo.
what?
No, it's like, is this,
What does that mean?
I just imagine he's like having a nice conversation with another dude, and the other guy goes in like, he's like, well, we used to have 3.
This is a really weird interview because it says Finaland Fat Chocobo, and further down it's like German media. So it's like suddenly a dude is just checking in like, this is German media.
He's like, hello, we actually had 3 dungeons. It's like, where'd you come from?
Okay, so Finaland, like I love that they at least don't stop. Like they're like, he's like, do you really need more instance dungeons? Other people would be like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. But they're like, I was used to having 3 instance dungeons, 3 instance dungeons per patch. Since Heavensward, the number of dungeons per patches have been reduced to 2 in order to create various contents. Yoshida answers.
That's that French sternness.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna back down.
Back when we had a smaller development team, we had to concentrate on the instanced dungeons because that's all the capacity to create that we had. But since then, we've gotten better at what we do, and we're now trying different things. For example, Eureka, or the raids, which you had before, the hunts, and... Oh, the hunt. In all of those, you can still get the elegant tomestones that you need, not just from instance dungeons, but from all those different kinds of content.
To be fair, they didn't have 2 tiers of raids back then. That was before Savage existed, so they actually do have to develop. I would say they have more.
They had Savage.
Well, no, not in A Realm Reborn.
got Savage.
When they were creating 3 dungeons, they had no Savage.
I can't remember when Savage came out. Did Savage come out in
It came out at the end.
No.
Well, the first Trial Savage. That's not the same thing, though. Savage didn't exist until Heavensward, in my opinion. There was Second Coil Savage, but that's not the same thing at all. It's not like that wasn't what it was for.
You only got a title for clearing it.
You only got a title, exactly. Like it wasn't supposed to be.
But it was still Savage, to be fair.
It was I would say it was more of a test of Ultimate than Savage, in my opinion.
It was the first Savage.
Like gear prog. It is.
I mean, the rewards weren't the same, but they were still...
I'd lump it in with ultimate before I would lump it in with savage rating, if that makes any sense. Because of the rewards.
Would you call Final Coil savage? Was Final Coil ever good?
I would say honestly back then, normal mode raids was kind of already savage.
Yeah.
If that because there was just no normal
there
mode.
Was just
but now
raid.
Right. It was just raid. Exactly. Yeah.
So let's see. Where were we? Not just from instance dungeons, but from all. Yeah. So we talked about how you can get tomestones from other types of content, which I agree with, because I don't really. Okay. Here's a controversial statement. I am not a fan of the expert roulette.
Oh my god!
I've for instance, I capped in Pagos, and I have never been more satisfied with that. I'm like, oh, I don't have to do fucking
You've heard
expert
it here
roulette.
first. Luke Heel thinks Pagos is better than expert roulette.
That's not what I meant, Rollo Des. I just we need different if we have other content that gives us tomestones, then it would be okay if we only got 2 dungeons per patch, right? Because
I agree with you. I'm just joking. Don't worry.
Yeah, I've capped on maps before, and it was like the best feeling ever.
Yes, it is. Like when you realize that I haven't done a single expert roulette, and my tomes are capped for the week. So yeah, that's
Hunt is pretty good.
The what?
If you follow Hunt link shells, you'll cap pretty quick as well.
That too. Yeah. We need more of that. More. We talk about this fucking every second episode.
What, Hunt?
What?
What'd
you say about that?
Caps on hunts.
That's how I cap sometimes.
It is a bit weird.
Oh, I just be chilling. Like, oh, there's a hunt up. Okay.
Yeah.
I bet you got all those speed upgrades, right?
No. Because I don't do
why not? No, Rollo. Now I was on your side.
Because I'm too lazy to go and buy them.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Are you just capped?
Don't tell me you're wasting allied seals. Because
if you were capped and you were doing it just for capping, then I would be like,
I don't do as many normal boar hunts anymore.
Okay.
They just kind of die really quickly. I'm like, I don't feel like going.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so we fill by reducing the amount of instance dungeons and increasing the amount of other type of content to get the same things, so that we're opening the amount of opportunities and options for the players to get what they need, rather than just going through instance dungeons, which is exactly what I've said we should have. But maybe it is just that it's coming out too slow, and of course Eureka kind of tanked, so we're feeling it more.
If Eureka had done super well, then I think this would be a totally different story.
Yeah.
I think this guy just doesn't like Eureka.
When it comes down to resources, for example, to create Heaven on High, our new deep dungeon, which I completely forgot it even exists, the amount of resources we use to create that is not the exact same as creating an instance dungeon. Actually, it's about 3 times the amount of resources to create it. To create that. So, what? So it's 3 times the amount of resources required to create Heaven on High than it is to create an instance dungeon.
Yeah, I believe that.
Makes sense to me. I mean, there's 10 bosses in there.
That's true.
And, different 5 or 6 different backgrounds.
Though.
What?
Really?
The skeletons of the bosses are the same, but I mean, think about how many new textures are in Heaven on High. The whole thing is original.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 different tile sets basically.
Yeah.
Take some more.
We're putting a lot of effort into those new types of content, which again, I think it's good. Because the thing is, a lot of people said when they cut back on the dungeons that I'd rather just have those 3 dungeons than you trying to make new content that, can fail. But if you're afraid that 14 is going to fucking tank and die, it would be if they just kept doing that. I mean, you'd have to live. Oh, okay, I'm coming back 3 years after. I was on hiatus for 3 years. I'm back in the game. What do? Oh, it's still expert roulette. Still have to do expert roulette.
They're a means to an end. That's all they are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. That's all they've ever been.
Yeah. So
I think the trouble with expert is that you get 90 tomes for doing expert, and you get 10 for doing any of the other roulettes.
Yes.
Why can't they just increase the amount for the other roulettes?
Yeah, I know.
I also just don't. I don't even like the fact that expert's 2 dungeons. Personally,
Sometimes
boring.
it's 3, yes.
Yeah.
So actually,
So,
chill.
a couple times it's 3. Yes.
Yeah.
I know. Why
yeah.
can't they just like scale every max level dungeon up or whatever, and just have every dungeon?
Yeah.
70 roulette should have been expert roulette.
Yeah.
It worked when it was 3 dungeons. Don't work so much now.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't. They don't want to do that because you have to unlock all those dungeons.
Yeah, that's true.
To be able to do expert.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you just got to end game now, you wouldn't be able to
That's
get
that point.
But to be fair, to do expert right now, you still have to.
Yeah, but you have to like
Catch
unlock
up on
2
all them.
dungeons.
Well,
but...
they could just do that with expert. Have the same rules as level 70 roulette. Or if you have a couple of them, you can do it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's how it should be. I'm just saying, maybe that's one reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Also, if we did it like that, then we could end up with the situation where certain dungeons almost never got run because you always got paired up with someone who hadn't unlocked it, and you would just never see that dungeon ever. And what if that had gear you wanted?
You'll never get Scarlet.
Well, then
gear,
queue for
never,
that.
ever.
Yeah, but then you don't get
dungeon.
the expert bonus. It's like a nice bonus when you get a dungeon that you really want gear from on your expert roulette.
It's
But
true.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of also feel like it's like they don't even touch the roulettes because they kind of don't want that to be the future of 14. That they are trying to make other content, and I think that's why they're being so like focused on Eureka, because they really want Eureka to work. It doesn't, but they're trying. So,
they're putting a lot of effort in. That's
yeah.
with that.
Hopefully in 5.0 we get something else that maybe succeeds. We'll see.
Called Eureka.
Maybe.
I think we talked about Eureka too much. We actually have a really good flow that we've actually a really good flow that we have gotten into these past few years, where we have the original members that have now become veterans and have practiced enough, and they are very good at their jobs, and now they want to try new things, and we're allowing them to try new things.
That's cute.
There's lots of paraphrasing.
They didn't know how to do their jobs, but they've been learning.
Yeah.
Now they're okay.
We're always bringing in new staff as well. And so the instance dungeons, this is interesting, are now what they're using for training. When new staff comes in, we allow them to work on the instance dungeons, and when they get the hang of that, they move on to primal battles, and from there move them on constructing raids, while our veterans are working on creating new things. So there's like a ladder that they climb. So, I mean, that's a good thing for dungeons, because it means, like, they really want to make those dungeons look good so they can move up to the trials.
Yeah. I would like the veterans to be working on the raids, though.
I was just going to say...
I don't want, like,
the veterans are the only one making bad content right now.
That's true. Yeah,
that's a good point. But he says it's a very good system that we have. And I do agree, in concept, it sounds really good. And maybe, I mean, I think the reason why the stuff that they've made, Diadem and Eureka, has happened is because they're trying to make something that's completely, like, not what we do in 14.
Never before been seen in an MMO.
No, yeah. Yeah. And, yeah, I don't know.
I will say it obviously does work, because we do, no matter what anyone says, we still have, to this day, one of the best MMO release schedules out of any game.
It's very good.
Yes.
So, I mean, like, no matter what, it does work, because we still get content way more frequently than everybody else.
That's true. That's true.
And they always stick to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Age of Wushu, you'll never be on our level.
But it's just like
Stop shaming Age of Wushu.
Has anyone ever thought of Age of Wushu?
No, Rollo.
No.
I've never. No. It's like.
I didn't want to say wow. I just thought
at least drop like RuneScape.
Yeah.
Right? RuneScape will never be as good as us.
I don't want to give RuneScape any respect. So
how
RuneScape
dare
Classic. You? RuneScape Classic.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Right.
Get out of here with your party hats.
This is our RuneScape Classic podcast now.
We're so sorry, Finland. Carry on.
Okay.
Sorry, German media. Carry on.
Yeah. Well, Soken says something. From the years back and until now, the sound team has been working on all the content, be it raid content, deep dungeons, instant dungeons, and all that. We're the ones creating sound for all content, so you may be worried that our workload has been increasing. I love that he just brings that up. They didn't ask about it.
He's like, you probably think I'm working too hard.
Yeah. Oh, I know that you're very worried that I might be overworked. But you don't need to worry about this because we love to work on this more and more.
Is this a cry for help?
I think this is a cry for help.
This is a cry for
That came out of nowhere.
You may think that Lukeel's torturing me. He's not. He's not. And by the way, I love it. It's like,
I want more. Okay.
He's there in front of his boss as well, so he's obviously got to say that. I love this.
Okay, so now here's a cameo by German media. They're just popping in. My first question is from Mr. Naoki Yoshida. Oh, this is very this is German media, all right. This has been a special wish for a couple of years. It's to implement a new customization option for creating characters.
Oh my god.
Every warrior of light is like a supermodel. There are
Preach.
Lukeil, it's the guy from the forums.
Preach.
Read it, Lukeil.
Is it Dragon Samurai?
Preach.
Okay. Every warrior of light is like a supermodel. There are no fat people, for example, or adding stuff like new aura horns, etc. Are there some things planned for next year?
There's no fat people or new horns. You know, one or the other.
Yoshida answers, we really do want to add more options. The problem is that to add the new options, especially with body sizes, we'd have to remake all of the equipment. I think they mean redesign, or remake sounds a bit... They could just...
But like the skeleton, because they probably all just like scale to a generic skeleton.
Yeah, I mean,
let's think about this though. Wouldn't a fat here wouldn't that just be the same year as Rogadin?
Yeah.
It might have like a really
not how bodies work, guys.
That is totally how bodies work.
I agree.
Here's a skinny person, they're this tall, and they're skinny. And when you get fat, you get taller, and you stay the same proportions.
Yeah. By now, we have over 20,000 equipment items in. Is that 20,000? Yes.
He's only saying
game.
that because of HQ and NQ.
Yeah. So there's only 10,000 equipment items in the game. To add things, we'd have to rework all of the graphics for those 10,000 items.
You wouldn't.
As you know, for like helmets, aura have the horns coming out of the helmets, or like for the Mikote, you have the tails coming out of armors and that sort of thing. If we decide, what
aura helmet thing really annoys me.
I was thinking of the Mikote tail
for their ears, and then aura, it just looks like a stupid, like they've broken through the helmet.
Yeah.
How do you even get that on? None of that makes sense.
It doesn't make sense. Now, the Mikote hat gives me, like, anxiety, because they're like, if you have longer ears, they will just, like, fucking curl in there in the helmets. Like, oh, I don't want to wear that. If we decide to change something, we might have to adapt that sort of element on all equipment. So it's a very hard thing to do just to add new options. Regarding character creation, creating character models, when creating a game that have a fit body style as opposed to creating a game that adapts, like for example with a weight slider, creating those models is completely different. In the beginning of 14, we got locked into creating that first type of body because with a weight slider, we couldn't create the type of characters that we have in 14 now.
AKA not pretty? Is that what he's trying to say?
He said this before.
Going back to the pretty thing again? Yeah.
Well, he's saying, when making the decision back at the beginning, which one are we gonna do? We had to decide which type of character have that Final Fantasy feel. That's exactly what he said last time. And looking back at past titles, it turned out that in all our past titles, everyone looked like supermodels.
Bullshit.
So we chose it is bullshit. So we chose the option that now allows us to create characters that all have that Final Fantasy feel.
Headmaster Sid is a supermodel.
Bullshit. Like
Robin Williams. Superhero.
Kina, Kamari, Kamari, Waka. I'm just throwing him in there.
Waka's pretty sexy.
He's pretty hot.
He's got a sexy body.
He's got a horrible accent.
We got Sid from Final Fantasy IV.
Oh, he's pretty ugly.
Vivi.
Leave Vivi alone.
Vivi's cute, but he's
Vivi's
not
cute.
supermodel.
Yeah, pretty weird.
It's not a supermodel.
Yeah.
It's total garbage.
Yeah.
100% lie. He is, I declare Yoshi-P not a Final Fantasy purist.
Yes, have you not seen all the... there's lightning,
But,
etc.
etc.
the main protagonists are usually kind of supermodel-y.
Unless you're Squall, yes.
Yeah. Well, Squall would.
His face
Yes, he's
was
the
melting.
best looking guy here.
Well, you're talking about in-game. You're talking about.
In-game, yeah, I was talking about in-game. I was kidding.
I love that clip of like when he's in the ballroom and Rinoa comes over and is like, "You're the best looking guy here," and you just see his
And he's
fucking
just like-
mangled face.
I love when he turns like the
And his
the
face is
three
like,
angles.
"Whoa."
Yeah, when they shift angles and their whole face shifts. Like,
Yeah, it's like,
melts.
all the
It's so
fucking
funny, dude.
vertices snapping and everything.
Yeah, it all
Terrible.
snaps, tries to fix itself.
Oh, bless 8. Okay. As for new races, which they didn't ask for, we can't comment on
Soken
that
again.
at this time. Last.
So it's like, hey, also,
Like, he really
I'm
wanted
not
someone to
overwhelmed.
ask about races.
it's like, Soken, this is you're a music guy. You don't talk about races.
So I think, I mean, he brought it up, so I guess, I mean, we're
laughed
getting
as well.
a race, at least, I guess, in 5.0. Well, otherwise I don't think he would have brought it up.
Sure.
Our next question is a long one, and it's for both of you. When we listen to the song Wayward Daughter, I'm not going to read.
Don't bother.
Oh, you should try. I believe in you.
Gekka Higabana Banshin Tsukuyomi Tometsu-sen.
Wow, that was so racist. I can't believe you just did that. That was so racist.
We're gonna be on Watch Mojo's now.
From Tsukuyomi's fight, we can clearly hear
He
a
fell for my
part
trap.
from A Father's Pride. Chichi no Hokori Yansahiru Yangsha field music. It's quite a strong nod to fight this primal with this music, knowing that she hates. She's disgusted about Doma even being a Domian.
Is that the thing?
No, they're called Doman, not Domian.
Domian?
Was that choice deliberate and desired? Do you often feel like taking over existing tracks when you have to create new tracks? Do you want me to read that again?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'll do it. Hold on.
That wasn't listening at all.
Let's get it
Just
clean
like-
so everyone can get this as their like ringtone. Gekka Higabana Banshin Tsukuyomi Tometsu-sen.
I have a request. I have a request of everybody in the audience. If one person can take a scene from an anime where somebody's like charging up a move,
Oh
and they say
god,
those
yeah.
really shitty anime sentences. If you can replace it with that Luke Keel's audio right there, that would make my whole life complete.
Please do.
That makes me so happy. It sounds like the name of a bullet hell game.
Right? And
Anyways, yeah, Soken answers. For the Tsukuyomi encounter, the BGM is actually created by taking the faces from Yangsha and Doma, but from the part of the encounter where she summons the music we used is from Yangsha. I think I'm stroking out again. Am I reading real sentences?
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm just going to read it and you guys just interpret it was whatever. But from the part of the encounter where she summons the music we used is from Yangsha and also parts of Revolutions. The reasons why we chose to use Revolutions for that part is because it's kind of the ultimate fight. It's the climax of the fight. As you noticed, the way Yangsha... I love the silence. As you noticed, the way Yangsha and Doma theme songs are used is, like you said, it's a mix of the experiences that she experienced as a child and also the time that she spent when she got back in Doma. So we wanted to intertwine two different elements to show the conflict and also the evanescence that she had.
Oh.
Great
Wait,
use of the word evanescence.
wake me up inside.
We can't wake up.
What does evanescence mean? You guys know, by the way?
I think it means very nice things.
What?
Okay.
Oh.
I'll look it up for you on it.
Thank you.
I think it means good
It
things.
means an American rock band founded in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Wow. I was always
Arkansas,
wondering what that
really?
meant.
Oh, yeah,
I love
sorry,
how you
Arkansas.
I love how you said Arkansas. That
Because
was my
it's
favorite
how
part.
it's spelled.
God, it's Arkansas. Get it right.
It's apparently after you lose a loved one, you're gripped with a fear that you'll lose the memory of them.
Wow.
And that's
That's
Evanescence.
Very
That
fitting
sounds like a
name for
drug.
That's a
Evanescence.
beautiful definition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's actually really nice.
On phase 2 and phase 3, we also use Yanksha and Doma, but the parts of those music that we took are different, so it rings quite differently. That is actually the
Give me 1
core.
second.
What? Okay, I'll give you.
I need to
3.
grab Ruby because she's
Okay,
working.
okay.
Okay.
That is actually the core of the Final Fantasy XIV sound creative perspective task. When we get stimulated by a music and want to add a meaning to it, so it's really meaningful in the game, especially during fights.
I
You
love that
guys
they
paying
put
attention to what I'm saying?
That
I'm
much
trying to
effort.
understand. I'm doing my best. Dude.
Basically, yeah.
I'm doing my best.
They've put in the music from Yangsha and Doma into the fight because that's her backstory, and it's kind of like a mockery of what she had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it a very evocative fight,
Right.
Yeah.
and also I guess the Evanescence part of it is to do with the phase shift where they all come up and attack her, but she's sort of losing her mind. Like when
Right.
Gosetsu jumps in and saves her from Xenos. So
Yeah.
they've done,
that
they've
makes
done like
sense.
this huge amount of work for this fight, and yet somehow they lost sight of that with St. Mosian's Hard, where they just used the
Yeah.
hinterlands music instead of the actual music from
Yeah.
the dungeon.
Yeah. No.
But you know,
that's-
it's pretty cool that they went to that length.
Yeah.
They do that a lot. All the fights have quite thematic music.
Yeah. The next question is for you. This is from the German media. My next question is for you, Mr. Koji. Mr. Koji. We aren't so far with We aren't so far to the it's not long until the expansion. I think the next one is on the way. Do you write the story for the next expansion as a piece, or do you plan far ahead, like maybe the next couple expansions?
Interesting.
Koji Fox answers, okay, actually that's probably a better question for Yoshida-san because he is involved with that creating process, so I'll ask him. Yoshida says, it's basically a case-by-case situation. The case of Heavensward, for example, from the original 1.0 Final Fantasy XIV, there was that promise that someday would get to Ishgard, and so with Heavensward, that was the one thing that we had to make sure we were going to get. So in a way, that was planned since 1.0. In the case of Stormblood, we had both situations. We had the idea of going to Alamigo. That was once again something we wanted to do since the 1.x series. The idea of that city we cannot get into because it's been taken over by Garleans. So wrapping up that story was something we wanted to do because it's there since the 1.x series, so it was our priority for the second expansion. Also, players would probably expect that after going to Ishgard, Alamigo is the only city we haven't gotten yet. We're gonna go there next. But we felt that this wasn't going to be enough. So we decided to not make that city-state and turn it into a dungeon.
So we decided to ignore it completely
Yeah.
and not do it at all. That doesn't. Yeah, that actually. That's kind of
That's
annoying when he-
triggered.
That's a little bit annoying what he just said.
Yeah, and so at that point we had to come up with something new. That's why we decided to take Garlemald, Doma, the Far East, bring all that in and expand the storyline. But you didn't bring Garlemald in, you only brought in the Far East. But okay.
Only
Expand
Doma. I
the
think that's
storyline.
Yeah, that's
More
a little
like
bit.
split the storyline.
Yeah, also
Yeah,
you
that's
then
kinda
decided to not do the Alamegan storyline after the first like 3 quests, and then Lise would be like, I liberated this, and that's the end of it. And then you made
You think-
Alamigo a dungeon.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about it.
You
Actually,
must never
I don't even
forget
want to
that.
talk about it.
You must
Actually,
never forget.
I'm just gonna forget he said that. That actually
Yeah.
really pissed me off. We're good. I'm gonna ignore it.
Yeah. That wasn't something planned from the beginning, and then going from there, we thought about how going from that 4.0 storyline, it would go and be developed into 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, etc. As for the future, if the players stick with us and stick with the game, please stick with us. We want to have their stories that we want to tell. We have ideas pretty much all the way up to maybe 6.0.
I think we already knew that
Yeah.
because that's when he wants the story.
Yeah. Yeah. So German media backs off. Finaland asks a question. My question is about an interview we did 2 years ago. Yoshida-san advised players to take a break and play less when they get bored. Even if there are patches to catch up on the content, the game pushes the player to stay up to date. For example, you can take a break from the game for more than 30 days if you have a house. It's kind of weird to hear a producer tell people to take a break and play other games.
That's a brilliant question.
Yeah. Yoshida answers, for the housing, you don't have to play. You just have to log in and click the door once a month to keep your house. It's not really playing, and then he laughs.
Wow.
That's funny. That's really funny because it clarifies something that he was saying before. Because we all thought, oh, he's telling us to unsub and go play something else.
Yeah.
That's not what he was saying. He was saying, don't play, but keep subbing.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to say, though. That's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
guy.
Finaland is on this. Yes, but for example, if I take a break from the game for 2 months and my subscription is not active, I can't log in to do that, and I will lose my house. Yoshida then answers the most... If you had an apartment, you wouldn't even have to log in.
Wow. So if you want to take a break, guys, you got to downgrade to an apartment first.
Yeah, and then work your
Just
way
don't
back
bother
up,
getting a
take
house
years.
if you're not going to play forever. Also, take a break, dude. Fucking take a break. But come back once a month. Pay the sub. Pay the sub. He's okay. I don't know. We will never agree with what Yoshi-P means on this part of 14, because he's clearly not even sure himself. It seems like it's like, take a break, but keep subscribing to the game you're no longer playing. Otherwise, you will lose your house. But maybe you don't need a house. Maybe just get an apartment and then.
Well, yeah, you obviously don't want a house if you're not interested in the game because you're not playing it. So
This is stressing me out, dude.
Oh,
That
boy.
doesn't make any sense.
Whatever. He keeps going. As for why I, as a producer of a game, am telling players not to play it sometimes or take a break sometimes, is because there are a lot of great games out there.
I agree.
You know, before being a producer, I am a gamer. I want to try a lot of different games myself, and I want the players to play a lot of different things to get that different stimuli from different games. If you're only playing 14, you'll lose sight as to why 14 is good. And if you step away from 14 and play other games, you realize they couldn't decide if
He's 100% right.
you realize what's good about 14. That's a good point.
That's a very that makes sense.
So
I agree with that half.
That is true. That is true. I have a lot of free time when I come on trips like this, so I bring my PS4 and I use this time to play games like Monster Hunter or God of War. Soken, on the contrary, I get to play a lot of 14 when I'm on business trips like this time. I can just feel Yoshi-P like giving him the stink eye, like fucking just so you play different games.
I get to make loads of sound for all the game.
I love this. You might think that I'm overworked. Because I have a PC in front of me, it makes me play for a long time. Back home, I have a PS4, and there's so many games, and I have to play those games. Thank you for the input, Soken.
So he only has his PC.
He forces me to play for a long time.
Wait, he brings his PC only on business trips. And a lot.
Yeah.
I think he's got it backwards.
Mm-hmm. They are.
PS4 should be for gaming trips, and your PC should be for at home, dude.
Oh boy!
How many seats is he booking on the plane?
Yoshida, it's all about balance. Focusing on one thing too much, it never really leads to anything good. So it's important to have that balance there.
Everything, I agree with that whole half. That makes perfect sense, and I specifically agree with the you have to play other games to realize why 14 is good.
Yes,
and I feel 100%. Like that is something that a lot of this community brushes over because they're like, 14 is the best MMO ever. Have you played any other MMOs? No, I won't play any other MMOs. Right. Well, then how do you know 14 is the best MMO ever? I'm not saying it is or it isn't, because I do think it is one of the best MMOs ever. But you have to have things to compare it to, or else.
Absolutely.
What are you doing?
Otherwise, you'll just be content with getting Eureka.
Correct. Exactly.
You'll think, well, this is gaming gold.
Which is why his statement is so weird, because it's not something a producer should say.
Yeah.
Because they would obviously want you to be in that bubble, so that because the backlash usually comes from people that have discovered other games and they're like, this doesn't hold up. But okay, since The Realm Reborn, the endgame pattern haven't changed a lot, I'm assuming that's supposed to say. Farming tomestones, 4 high-level raids, and alliance raids. Is there any plan to break this pattern and doing something new, or are you going to continue to follow it? That's a loaded question. Yoshida says, currently we've added the even higher end, the ultimate raids, but beyond that we still haven't considered anything yet. Oh, here it comes. However, for the disciples of the hand and land, we're thinking of some new type of end content for those classes. But we can't tell you anything about that yet.
Collectibles
2.0.
Yeah.
That didn't ruin it, right?
No.
We're adding in more script types. Different colors of the rainbow.
Can I say these interviewers are so antagonistic almost?
Yeah, they are.
I definitely do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. It's
funny.
refreshing to get like an interviewer that's like,
I like this.
I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, no, I like to see them not back down.
Player of the game.
Yeah.
All the other ones are like, oh, so you got a new patch or something?
Yeah,
this one's like, hey, what the hell are you doing, man?
Yeah.
No one's asked about 1.0 and how he did it.
Right.
Oh, God.
Right.
So,
I'm very happy. I'm tired of those interviews.
Email chain.
The next European FanFest is coming in a few months in February in Paris. You've acquired a lot of experience thanks to the previous events around the world. How are you feeling now? We suppose there is a lot of work to be done, but with your current level, it should be a piece of cake, right? Yoshida then asks, I feel like he's like, I'm under attack. In the previous FanFest, did you feel there's some things that could have been done better? Fat Chocobo replies, I went to the London and Frankfurt FanFests. I was very satisfied about London, but for the Frankfurt's one, the activities I wasn't attracted. I didn't enjoy them.
Woo!
Wow.
The activities in London, like, this is an uncomfortable interview. The activities in London, we felt more implicated. We had like crafting activities, while in Frankfurt it was more like the gold saucer with minigames, which is fun but less implicating.
I kind of agree with that. For the second I was at the second Las Vegas one, and I actually agree with that 100%. It was kind of like, here's a bunch of small things you can do. Nothing's gonna actually really take your time besides the keynotes. Like, that's the only actual big events that are going to go on. And everything else is like, you throw a foam spear at a wall, and it's like really like small stuff. That's a good way of explaining it. It just felt like the gold saucer.
Yeah.
Like, personified.
Yoshida replies to this dagger of a question. Our first stop is Las Vegas. Our team in America has already been giving a ton of ideas of things they want to do, and we are in the process of checking those right now to make something great. Europe is in the process of coming up with ideas, and we'll take your comments and make sure they get to the team. While this is our third time doing this, every time that we do this, we try to do more than we did at the previous one. We try to top ourselves. We are on the verge of a limit break. So,
you get it?
Yeah. So to say that we have 100%. So to say that we have 100% confidence because we have done it before, well, we are going to try to do things we haven't done before this time. So it's always a little bit nervous. Like,
it's always a little bit nervous.
It's always a little bit nervous. Like, can we do this right? But as you said, we have the experience of the previous ones. We'll put all that to make an event biggest and better. Biggest and better FanFest.
You're struggling, oh boy. Oh. This is a hard read. I don't blame you.
German media.
Between this and the post show.
I might.
By the way, I don't think some of these guys are gonna get another interview in a while. Maybe.
Maybe not. I think they should though. It's a great interview.
They should.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna be too.
Like he's been cast into a prison theater, and like, these are the people you've wronged in your life.
Yeah.
Now they're going to shout at you.
Why'd you do it, dude? Why'd you do it?
Okay, here's the next question from German media. Glamour restrictions seem to be very hard since you can only glamour items of your own class or fellow classes that share the item. Would it be possible in the future, for example, to have a white mage being able to glamour parts of Paladin's gear? Yoshida says, but then it wouldn't be a white mage anymore. German media says, the community was thinking about just some parts like hands or boots that really fits with the other outfits. Yoshida says, but everybody has their own taste. If there's one person that thinks those paladin's gloves would fit really good with their white mage outfit, that's just one person's opinion, and some people might think that looks ridiculous. That said, we are not completely closed to opening up certain types of equipment to make them available to all classes when it comes to the glamour system. If there are certain parts and certain designs that players want to be able to use on all classes, then please post those on the forums so our dev team can pick those up and make that list. However, when it comes to job-specific equipment, we will probably never make that. So please try to find something from the general equipment that kind of looks like that and use that instead.
Doesn't matter because everyone can just be a bikini white man.
I was thinking the same thing, Rollo. I was thinking the same thing the whole time. They're going, yo, that's not a white mage anymore. Oh yeah, and a paladin in a bikini is a fucking paladin, you idiot.
You both went for bikini, whereas I was thinking about the gas mask, the yellow gas mask hood.
Sure. That too, sure.
White mage doesn't exist in the game anymore at all, so it doesn't matter.
Also true.
That's
also
true, yeah.
True. Yeah.
Like I get like the relic or the artifact armor though. Like don't sure you can keep those exclusive, but like
I don't even care anymore, to be honest.
Whatever.
Like you can even do relic here. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care either, but I can understand.
The community wants stone skin on every class, but then it wouldn't be white mage anymore.
I think I get it with the job gear.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a paladin walking around in like artifact gear for a white mage. Do you get what I mean? Because that would be like an actual clash. Because that's like embedded in our minds as that's a mage class.
Imagine a dragoon and then they get out a staff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think you should ever.
I don't think
the
weapons
are obvious. Okay, weapons don't make any sense.
No, but I mean it looks like a dragoon.
Oh right.
And then it's actually.
And then he pulls out a white mage staff.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, there's already lots of. You can make a white mage glamour that looks completely like you're a black mage, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Like that's already completely possible. So I don't really even see why it matters at this point.
Right. Yeah.
I think they just want like plate for casters and cloth for tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like you need to. It's not like it's hard to get this artifact gear anymore. They'll let you buy 2 sets of artifact gear for a couple bucks on the Mog Station when you buy your job jump. So
yeah,
they're not like they're rare and like special piece of equipment anymore.
It's not that artifact gear though. It's the Shire gear, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't matter. But either way, you have 2 available at that point.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like one of them you get given automatically. The other ones, yeah.
It is an excuse though. So
yeah,
it is. It's just whatever. Anything anyone wants to add to this interview? I mean, it's a really like almost aggressive interview, but
I like seeing people being put on the spot and actually have to,
because rarely happens.
I do feel like Yoshida gets in these cycles of like he gets asked the same question and he answers it almost word for word the exact same. It's like he's reading off a script sometimes, and it's like nice to see him have to go like, oh, we fucked up, and he's like actually asking. He's actually asking the interviewer questions, being like, "Oh, really?" And I like to see that every once in a while.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying though that he's like asking does he not read the official form?
No, he doesn't. They don't care.
No, everything. No.
Was it in English, Lukiel?
I mean,
probably. They don't give a shit then. They don't read it.
Yeah.
I mean,
they just don't care then.
There is a lot of information going around about 14 from the community, so I do understand.
It's almost like they don't have a community team for each language that can just look through it. I know, right? It's so difficult.
I mean, they're an indie company. Yes, we need to cut them a lot of slack. Okay,
they have such a small community.
Run out of Yoshi-P's garage. It's a very small indie team of
so stupid.
Yeah, it's just Soken
all
and
the
Koji.
Community guys are just all Japanese men in his garage.
Correct. Those are the only fun fact. No one that's not Japanese plays this game. I don't know if you knew that. But you actually only Japanese people play this game. So
that's true. I don't know what we're doing.
It's actually Japanese inclusive, like Planet, like Fantasy Star Online too.
Yeah, Fantasy Star Online. Yeah,
it's just like that. It's just for them.
Okay.
An Age of Wushu, probably.
Yeah.
Good callback.
Yeah.
That's still around, by the way. Anyone know?
I don't even know what it is, Rollo.
It's a shitty Korean MMO. Martial arts. It wasn't very good.
Okay, no, we don't have to pull a dungeon because we're doing Siren Song C tomorrow.
What happened last week?
We were only 3, and we thought, we'll just do it the 3 of us, but you can't undersize a Stormblood dungeon.
Oh, you did that again. Okay,
so
that's fine by me.
We didn't
do that dungeon.
We didn't do Siren Song.
so because you can't
we can't
undersize
do it.
It's fine by me.
Yeah,
we
so
did
we
Great Google library because we figured
Great
out we
Google
missed that.
hard.
Oh,
Right.
my
Yeah, hard.
God.
Yeah.
So we're doing
That's
Siren
fine.
Song tomorrow.
It's a good dungeon, but
I
that's
guess we need to spin the wheel.
Is there gonna be sound this time?
No, I don't
Wheel.
think so.
I'll make the sound. Okay, I got it.
Okay, let's
Okay,
see.
but sync it up.
I don't.
It goes on for so long. Holy shit!
Man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No OGCDs,
It's gonna be
so
hard.
cool. No OGCDs. I love that when I have to remove all the skills and forget to put them back on, and then go into a dungeon and then realize, oh, none of my skills are on the bar. Okay. Right, let's read some MogMail. We have 3 today, so we'll read those. Here's the first one. Remember, you can send MogMail, speakersxv.com/MogMail. Here's the first one. This one is from AJ Brains. Oh, this is from AJ. From Ragnarok.
AJ.
Good evening,
AJ.
guys. In each of the 2 expansions we've had so far, there's been the addition of a headline feature that has been kind of a selling point, mainly, I guess, aimed at people from WoW or just non-MMO players.
Swimming
As a way of luring them in. I'm thinking of swimming in Stormblood or flying in Heavensward. One of those was definitely more successful than the other.
Yeah. Shit.
2 questions, therefore, for each of you. What feature in this sort of area would you like to see in the next expansion? And what do you think we will see in the next expansion?
Digging. I want to dig holes.
If any. Damn.
It'll be climbing.
Digging.
Climbing up walls.
I want to dig holes in the ground.
There's already a dig command.
See, look, chat. Everyone's saying digging. They all thought the same thing, man.
T-Fire just likes holes. Just really likes holes.
You guys like a bunch of worms? What's up? Bunch
Yeah.
of moles?
So what would the
Yeah.
purpose? Excuse me. What would that add to the 14?
Nothing. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna-
yeah.
I don't- not, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Nice headline feature. Digging. It
There's-
doesn't do anything, but you can dig a hole.
You wanna know what I want the headline content to be?
What?
No gimmicks. We made good shit.
Classic.
I want 5.0
I just want them to make good stuff.
Yeah, but
fix
every
the
MMO
gimmick from
has
4.0.
a big gimmick.
I disagree with that. I think the first 2 of every MMO goes, we're introducing flying now.
Mhm.
And then the next
No,
then the next expansion goes, you can
yes.
swim now. It's like
What's next?
I'll say 2 that I think would be. I don't think they'd be very good, or they could be. I don't know, but I would say.
Climbing is interesting.
why climb though? You can fly.
Yeah, why
There's
climb?
flying has
good
climbing would have 0
Yeah, but
relevance.
it can be used in dungeons.
Fly. You just fly, I guess. Yeah.
Unless the point is that you can't fly in an area and you have to climb.
Oh God, help us
Oh
all.
no, Ron.
That sounds like the worst thing ever.
Yeah. Don't. Let's not.
I
do
mean,
that.
I'm just saying. Like, I don't.
You're the worst person.
Yeah.
Ooh, archaeology. Archaeology.
Archaeology would be fantastic.
Mm,
So
I've
I would
always
say
wanted some sort of in-game lore.
yeah.
I'd go with mounted combat, like a special skill set.
Oh my
Mounted combat. Like
Guild Wars mount skills type of thing.
Mm.
I have no
Airship
clue.
battles?
That was gonna be my second one. My second one would be some form of airship battle.
Mm.
That
That
dream
was
has
introduced in
died
Heavensward.
so long
But never
ago.
actually
But
happened.
yeah, sure. I'd be very happy if they did that though. But God.
But isn't that just more like a type of content than like an actual gimmick?
yeah.
That wouldn't be like
That's a gimmick. Mounted combat in like airship
Can I
battle.
just say,
mounted combat would be,
Mounted combat would totally
but
be.
airship battles you'd still queue into it probably. And
Yeah.
like,
There's no way
this
they would
game's
make
never
that
gonna-
open world.
exactly. There's never gonna have like you actually just decide you get in your own airship and there's a big Final Fantasy
Well,
12
no, I
style
mean,
Star
there could
Wars
be
fight
like-
going on
Yeah.
this guy.
There could be things. There would be like, oh, here's a special fate where you get in the airship and you gotta pew pew. whatever.
Yeah.
You
Can I
get
just
to
say
ride
that Wrath of the Lich King on the box it shipped with had flying combat as a listed feature, and it was never added to the game at any point.
Really?
Maybe there's a reason why no one's ever done that.
Wait,
That
they
is-
put it on the box?
Yeah, it's on the actual box. In the
Wow.
inside. And I was like, wow, this looks cool. I've never got to play it.
They always cut shit though,
Mm.
didn't they?
Yeah, but they don't put it on the box, Ron.
Putting it on the
feature.
box is a bit. That's going a bit.
That's
far.
that's pretty. We're gonna do it.
Yeah,
That's,
Yeah.
that's a
pretty
very
much-
last minute decision. Then probably they were like, no,
That
this
would be
isn't
like
working.
if we couldn't swim in Stormblood.
Yeah.
Which would be probably better.
I want Pokemon. Let's just pet battles.
Oh god, yeah, Pokemon.
Pet battles.
Oh yeah, pet
But
battles. We're talking about that.
I feel
before.
like the headline feature has to be very like main game focused. This is all side content stuff.
I agree 100%. Yeah, that's why I was thinking like airship battles. Mounted combat probably is like the one that's been said that's the most accurate.
Yeah.
Or like sieges. Some sort of like new Fate system where it's big sieges.
Yeah.
I mean, Fate's technically were the gimmick of 2.0.
That's true.
So yeah, you're not wrong.
And jumping.
And leaves. Just kidding. That was
right.
That was 1.0's gimmick.
Maybe it'll be dodging, like double tap to dodge.
Double tap to oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not going to be nice or good, but it could be.
Oh god, I'd hate to have to fucking hit the A and D key twice to dodge in that direction.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
Yeah, but I'm sure 5.0 is going to have a gimmick as well. They always have, at least. In
I honestly don't know if there will be a gimmick.
Don't worry, they'll come up with something.
You're probably right, but
there will be, yes.
Maybe the return of Hamlet defense, like introducing a more living world.
That had to be added in old era. Why would you want to do Hamlet defense in fucking Garland Realm?
People will do it 4 times and never again.
It would make sense if it happened in Ilvl.
Yeah.
Haven't we discussed this before? I feel like that's like if they're gonna implement Hamlet defense, would make sense in like the border areas between Eorzea.
I always thought it seemed like it always seemed like a Gridanian thing to me, personally.
What?
I see why.
Hamlet defense?
Think of Hamlet and think of forests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I always, especially because I think the Hamlets I did back in 1.0 tended to be the ones in Gridania.
There was only...
Which was the one in Gridania? It was
one of the mills.
Wasn't Mill. Was it Quarry Mill? Hearst Mill? It was
Hearst Mill.
It was Hearst Mill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did the one in Hearst Mill a lot, so I think that's why I kind of associate it with
Ailport OP. Ailport and
I boycotted
Golden Bazaar. Golden Bazaar was the best actually. We'll see. I don't really know because I feel like we have all of the gimmicks now, so they will have to like invent something new.
Dating sim.
Oh,
you want that finally?
If that is a gimmick, I'll be very upset. I'll be very upset.
You'd actually be upset
because Rollo would win. He would get his dream feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That would give him like so much fuel.
Finally bring back, what did you do this week? And like Luke will be like, oh, I've started on my White Mage job quest, and Yaz will be like, oh, I've just been doing some of the extremes, and I'd be like, I've been in the gold source, and Rollo will be like, well, this week I dated Stola, and then I got the first hard event.
Yeah. We held hands actually.
I can actually remove a piece of clothing next week, so I can't wait for that. Okay.
You guys would do it. Don't lie.
I want to go home.
Don't lie. All of you would do it.
No, I want to go home.
Everyone would find someone to date.
I dress up just like I dressed up the collectibles chicks because I totally did that.
That's just weird.
I just put the
Oh, that's weird, Rollo. You're right. Sorry, you're right, Rollo. That's weird.
That's weird. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
The guy who plays a boat anime game.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Tell
guys,
people what
Azure Lane for the phone. It's very good.
It's not sponsored. Just ignore that. Don't go look up that game. Specifically, boycott it. So
anyway.
I need to unpack this. Dressing a chick up is weird.
Yeah.
But forcing her to date you isn't weird.
I'm not forcing anyone to
because
date
she's
you.
A computer, Rollo. She's programmed to date you. It's not a real human being.
Then any romance in any game that's being forced.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Enough of this creepy conversation. I've dressed all my NPCs in the Wailing Spirit gear, so I will never see their faces again, and I am content with that. Next, MogMail.
Thanks, AJ.
Next one's from Kamir, my boy, from Lich. Hey guys, everyone tuning in is definitely enjoying the quality and professional content done by you guys, but I was wondering, are there any 14 YouTubers, content creators that you personally enjoy watching? Which is an interesting question because I don't think I watch any. When I started doing speakers, and when I started doing speakers to Finaland, I stopped because
You don't watch any YouTube?
No, I watch YouTube, but I don't watch 14.
He didn't say
Yeah.
14.
He said, "Oh no,
It does say any 14 YouTubers / content creators you personally enjoy watching."
Yeah.
Oh no, not anymore.
Yeah, I don't really.
Yeah, I don't really do. I
didn't watch them beforehand or after, really.
I do keep up to date on that. Like, I check in every now and then, but I don't.
The only person I watch a lot is just Ms. Tech, because she makes like really good guides for like, especially when I just like I didn't keep up with whatever or learn the new dungeon or something. Like, okay, Ms. Tech has to be covered. I'll just watch her stuff.
Yeah.
They're good, but they're very, very fast. And it's like, okay, you got to do this now.
Yes, I want the fast guy.
I want the fast. What was the name of the dude that did the? Yeah, we're thinking about the same guy.
He was so good.
Each guy was like 5 minutes, and you knew everything after those 5 minutes.
And he told you like, he broke everything.
What was his name? Grail Gaming.
Grail.
I think there's something like that. Yeah,
he's really good.
I hope. Is he still doing guides? I haven't seen.
Oh, probably.
But yeah, his videos were good. Very on point, very quick, very concise, and I felt like every time I'd watch one video, I already kind of knew.
Grail Gaming.
Yeah.
If you guys are making guide videos, by the way, for anything, don't make the video fucking like 30 minutes long. I don't have time or energy to look at a 30-minute long guide.
Especially when 50% of the time people watch guides, it's about 5 minutes before they're going to do the fight for the first time.
Yeah. Sometimes I even have the guide like looping, like even when I'm doing the fight. So I have it like on repeat, so I know. And that 5-minute videos that he does is perfect because like you know everything, and he goes over them over and over and over, and I'm like, oh, I got this.
Just like to say, Grail Gaming hasn't uploaded in 7 months.
Oh,
F.
Sad.
There's oh my god, that was
Jesus,
loud.
it's so loud.
Oh yeah, I turned up my volume for you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fucking really loud.
Right.
Do you guys watch humor videos? Someone asked that.
Watch what?
Humor videos.
You mean 14, like Machinima? I used to watch some of like the Zeppler stuff, but I haven't caught up with her for ages.
Yeah, I've just fallen out.
I watch them when they come up. I don't really subscribe to anybody that makes anything, but like if someone likes me, like, oh yeah, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. As you can tell, we are aware of the others, but I don't really watch them. Especially don't watch. I used to watch like every single 14 podcast until I started Speakers of Finaland, because I said to myself, don't watch others, because now you'll start trying to copy them.
I don't want to ever sound like we're just repeating somebody else.
Exactly.
Like that's it's never something I've been interested in.
And if we then do that, it would be accidental because we haven't actually watched any of it. So there you go.
I just kind of stopped myself.
The only content creator that I ever enjoyed watching for 14 hours, I can't enjoy anymore because I have to do it.
What do you mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. Me too.
I used to love watching this podcast. And
right. Yeah.
Now it's awful.
I used to watch a lot of Final Fantasy 14 podcasts.
Yeah, this has ruined my podcast experience for 14. Unfortunately.
If anyone's thinking like it would be fun, don't do it. You have to put up with 3 idiots every week.
It's hard to watch content where you become the content creator for the thing.
Yeah,
because it's like,
you're
saying the same thing sometimes, or like if you're like me, like I used to watch podcasts for like the news and stuff I missed, but now it's like I'm the one talking about the news.
Yeah.
It's like being a doctor or a mailman. Do mailmen deliver their own mail, or do other mailmen do it?
That was a real question.
I don't think I ever thought about that.
It's a good one though, do they? Interesting.
I feel like you could just bring it home, right?
What would a mailman do if he was delivering to himself and he wasn't in because he was out delivering?
Oh my god!
He needed someone to sign for it.
How does he solve that?
That's the best analogy ever.
Although I want to say that I again know of all the other podcasts. It's just like it's important to stay on top of what's happening in the community. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the second or the last one, which actually ties into this one, I guess. I don't like this person's username, and I don't like their server, so I might want to boycott them. But here we go. It's from Stone Skin, from a White Mage's Dreams.
Favorite server.
Thank you. Hello, Lukeal and crew. I've been listening to the podcast for a long time. I've been listening since listening. Does that mean that you're like an iTunes dude?
Whoever you are, reach out with your real name.
Yeah.
This is Lonergan and Orange.
I've been listening since Lonergan and Orange was the core crew. That must be like 2016?
20 years ago, yeah.
20 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Also big fan of Roar and Soar. Can't wait for
Oh my God.
Chronicles. Anyway, sorry about the delay. Here's my question. I guess it's mostly aimed at Lukiel. In the years that have passed since I started watching Speakers Network, I couldn't help but notice that the channel seems to be isolated from the rest of the 14. I'm assuming that's CCS is like content creators. Yeah. Is this intentional? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it seems like collabs are the norm in the 14 content creator community. Okay. Thanks for making great content. Hope you'll be around for a long time. Wow, speaking of...
Thanks, Stone Skin.
Thank you, Stone Skin. Intentional. Well, not really. Well, for the podcast, it's intentional. But I don't really understand. See, it's difficult because I don't view our content as something that you can collab with. Like, how do you collab with Remnants of a Realm or it would be like voice overs?
I mean, people only collab in 14 community by having each other on each other's podcasts.
Yeah, right.
It's like all people do.
Or they show up in
somebody else.
Or they show up in people that do machinima, for instance, have other characters in stuff like that. Yeah. But
in we have one thing that people collab with, that's sorry, that we could collab with, and that's Gillionaire.
Gillionaire, yes, which was actually proposed. During when we rebooted it. But we're still kind of far away from that. I just don't. I like to like we're in like a bubble. Speakers Network is like its own little bubble.
Yeah,
and
we're like the rebels.
Yeah,
we're like the rebels. No, we really are though, and like it's really true because everyone else is like has this friend trade going on where they help each other out. And we're just like
for like.
We'll do it on our own. We don't need. We're just chilling.
Yeah,
we're just chilling.
It's not, and also the podcast. So the podcast was actually made with the idea that we would not have guests on the podcast because this was going to be like you would always know who was going to you would have an idea of who was going to be on the podcast every time you tuned in. There wouldn't be any because when the four of us we have like a chemistry, and then when you put a guest in, usually it kind of breaks it up a bit, it makes it weird, and every single podcast has it. For the podcast I was very clear, this is
and I agree with you.
We don't. Well, not initially. You did eventually.
No, initially I did not agree with you. Yes, I want to guess on it first.
And at some point, like recently, I was kind of leaning towards a new concept because we had to like refresh. I felt like the podcast needs another because you always have to change, otherwise you run stale. So I was thinking maybe at some point we would have like a guest speaker of the month, have some sort of shake up where there's not just us, maybe on minimum eye level, but again we are 4 people. That's already a light party, so that's the problem. It's just difficult. It doesn't fit our weird. Content, yes,
especially at this stage because it's been going on for so long. To suddenly one week be like, hey, here's Denmo, and like, hey Denmo, this week we're talking about, like, just do the normal podcast. It seems very weird.
Yeah.
And like,
I mean, if you want to watch a podcast with guests, then you have multiple podcasts to watch, is what I'm saying. Collabs is the norm, and I don't know if I agree with that sentence. Collabs is the norm in the 14C
I wouldn't say it's the
community.
Norm.
It happens a lot.
Very
I
common.
would say it is, yeah.
It's the norm in like content creation in general.
Yeah.
Like, I think we've all seen like a YouTuber, and then there'll be an episode, and they'll be like, "Oh, hey, who's that?" And then the person comes in and is like, I'm the person here to stop the review.
This sounds like a nostalgia critic episode.
I feel like I was going to say, are you talking about like very specific people right now that are very annoying to watch? I've already stopped to watch.
I just say collabs like that. They're so annoying.
Yeah,
agreed.
I mean, I guess the fact that we've never done collabs is why the channel is so slow in growth. But it's like I've always said, a slow burn is better than whatever the opposite of it is.
Massive explosion.
Massive explosion.
A gas leak.
Yeah.
Gas fire.
Because we got here on our own. Right. that's not to say we're not like open to the idea, but we're not. We don't. It's just because we haven't found a way to fit anything in. Also, I haven't done like that's all it is.
There would have to be their camera would have to be Tataru as well. Like it would just be a tiny little circle of their face there.
Oh.
Otherwise, where would they go?
Oh, that's also like the
because you can't make any overlay. Can't make any overlay.
We'd have to like shrink.
Can't happen. Not allowed.
They go where the circle is, the logo.
No way.
They put them in the tip jar, so and then
they could
dump their mouth so they can grab up the tips. Like
that's it. Open their mouths for the tips.
Yeah. Right. I guess that's that. Thank you to Stone Skin for that question.
Also, I'm gonna be honest, a 5-person podcast is kind of hard to listen
to.
We talk over each other enough.
Like we were scared when we were bringing Yas in the first time because we thought, oh, actually maybe 4 people is too many because we were already struggling with 3.
At least there was only 2 weeks of that, so
yeah, that's
it was
true.
back down to 3.
And then when we did the search for the new speaker, we were like we were back at it again. We were like, maybe we shouldn't add a 4th host. But 5 people sounds like a lot of a big mess.
Now you got me.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in to Speakers of Violin episode 114. Remember to follow us on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersOfViolin, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV. If you're watching live, ! Discord in chat to join our Discord server, or if you're watching on demand, link is in the description.
Why isn't the bot talking? There it is.
Does it make noises for subs?
What, didn't give me my message?
Didn't give the message.
Send us MogMail.
Damn it, we missed out on.
I was planning that all show.
You know what? I'll give this to you. Here we go.
Send US MogMail.
Send US MogMail.
What happened?
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye. Geka Higabana Banshin Tsukiyomi Tometsu-sen.